I have to say that I have a very good feeling about today's podcast slash YouTube show. And it's not because Destin and I have already, had an intimate talk about World of Warcraft. It's not that at all. But no. So Destin
Mhm.
is a fan of World of Warcraft, and Destin's also a fan of Andy. So it's like this trifecta of bromance going on, and it's a little wet. So hold on to your butts.
You said wet just as I was taking my drink of water, and
Yeah.
that just made it so much more awkward.
Yeah, I was like, oh dear. Now we're starting out really awkward.
This is Andy. Your voice is so ASMR, like just naturally.
What does that mean? Like
I-
it's the kind of voice that you'd want to listen to?
You know what's sad? Like when you were doing that freaking creepy voice a long time, like a couple weeks ago, these headphones have bass, so it pushes air, so I could feel your breath in my ears. It was so weird. I did not like it.
Whose book were we reading?
It was like that pedo guy that you did, like it was
Rebecca's?
yes, that was, in my opinion, that was my favorite reading you've done, but there's been multiple ones.
I think we did Psychopath or Sociopath a week or two ago, and that was fun. But yeah, Rebecca's creepy dude, that was probably the most fun I've had reading a character since like the first dwarf that I read or whatever.
I feel like if I had read that, I would have picked out like, yes, this is Rebecca's work, which is a compliment. But today, guys, we have an amazing show for you today. Of course, I am your boy, Stevie Collier, and today I am, of course, here with my bestest buddy, Andy Peliquin, and today we have the awesome, the amazing Deston Munden. Did I say it right, or is it Munden?
You said it right. I'm impressed.
on WoW, it's Munden. Like, Munden.
No, please stop.
Dude, I've got some really sad World of Warcraft stories. Like, I'm talking when I was like 9, I was flirting with girls on there. Like, legit, I was so sheltered. I was talking to girls on there. I was probably talking to 30-year-olds,
Yeah, a bunch of dudes.
Yeah. Ah, dang.
Oh,
I did. Awesome. Well, we have an amazing show for you today. We have an awesome reading by the awesome Destin. But first, we have to get to know Destin a little bit. So, Destin, it's your destiny to tell me about yourself.
I was waiting for that one.
No. I know you were.
Stevie.
Hello guys. I am Deston J. Munden. I'm a fantasy and science fiction writer. I am the author of Tavern and Dust Mountain Blues. I'm a huge Warcraft and Mass Effect geek, so and Dungeons and Dragons dork. So
Mass Effect.
Mm-hmm.
Andy's a big Mass Effect fan.
Yeah. I just finished playing through Mass Effect 2 and 3 after I played through Andromeda, and it was like being back in a comfortable sweater or like, like watching Lord of the Rings again. It was just so good.
Yeah, it just after Andromeda, I was really hurt. Andromeda hurt me on a like emotional level because it was just so like.
For me, what I loved about Mass Effect is the combat. Just the, I don't know, the movements, the controls, the way that you can actually pause mid-battle and, cast the abilities and stuff. That for me was what made the game. The story was okay. I mean, I will be Miranda forever, Miranda fan forever. But
I swear, I don't see a lot of Miranda fans.
No?
No, like, I think you're probably one of the first Miranda fans that I've seen. That like,
I feel like Miranda is the most common one.
Like for me, I've seen that Tally is the most common. Like I've seen everyone be like, "Let one die by Tally."
That is, yeah.
I'm a Liara person.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's it's always a good choice. So I'm guessing you were romancing PB in the new one then?
I was, but like I didn't like her as much as Liara, so I ended up picking Vetra, the like Victorian lady.
Yeah.
If I remember right, I liked Garrus. Or Garrus.
Garrus, yeah, he's the shooter.
Yeah,
he's
like
shooter.
He's the best. Like he's the best bro.
He's the guy who I ended up like choosing on my team. I think more than anybody else
Yep.
mainly because of concussive shot.
Oh yeah, concussion shot was so good.
That's the greatest one. Before we get off too far into Mass Effect, because I could talk Mass Effect all night. Destin, tonight we're going to be reading from which of the two books?
We're reading from Just Mountain Blues, the sci-fi.
Okay, perfect. So tell us a little bit about that one.
Okay, Just Mountain Blues is a kind of like a mix between a sci-fi and a western.
Okay, I love that already.
It follows 3 generations of a mutant family called the Caldwells, as they fight off like colonizers that are trying to take over the galaxy and kind of like domesticate everything to make everything be like all civilized. And it follows the main character Drifter, which is like the grandpa. He's the old grizzled, I've seen everything type character that smuggles stuff from off the planet. Then his son Appetite, which is like this massive, big, like chunky guy that can like literally eat anything. Like he can process anything in his stomach.
Okay, so
and then his daughter Kendall, which is like this hot, fiery type of character that like she can absorb any energy thrown at her and use it as energy for herself. And she's kind of like the hot-headed, kind of makes bad decisions. You can kind of like, oh no, don't do that, Kendall type of character. And it follows their like fight against the blue coats, which are kind of like the colonizers' military force.
That's cool. So that sounds a little bit like fantasy elements. Are these sci-fi based powers?
They're kind of sci-fi based power. It's kind of like science fiction. I usually compare it to X-Men.
Okay.
Where it's like not quite science fiction and not quite fantasy.
Gotcha. Sort of. Well, so the whole thing with like most of the Marvel Comics powers is that they're all, science based. There's the genetic mutation of the X-Men. There's the Fantastic Four exposed to solar radiation, which is really, that's the main thing that separates them from, like the fantasy characters like Thor. Thor would fall under fantasy. Whereas pretty much all of the other ones, they would be
science fiction.
They would be the science fiction.
They're all of there's other stuff like robots and cyborgs on the like blue coat side, so they have like their own kind of like power sets of their own. So it's a fun experience.
Are these characters, are they mutated because you have a guy who can swallow anything? Okay.
Yeah, all of them are mutant. All the mutants are like some of them can transform. Like the Drifter can transform to this giant like lizard insect thing, and some of them just have passive powers like telekinesis, etc. So
awesome. Well, we're going to do a topic based on your book, but before that, let us talk about something cool that's happened to us recently. I'm sure I know Destin, you've seen a few of our shows, so were you prepared for this?
A little bit.
Okay, Andy, what do you have?
Why don't you come back to me? I'm trying to figure out like what has been really good.
I know my good one is, and I think this is my good news for every single podcast show, and that is surfing. And I get to go surfing tomorrow. Like less than 24 hours from now, I will be hitting the waves on artificial waves, of course. A little nervous about it because apparently I hate lineups. I hate surf lineups. That's usually where most arguments begin. Someone drops in on a wave or someone broke lines. Someone, they looked like they were tired and you thought they were waving you on. It's where a lot of arguments start. Surfers are not as nice as like Hollywood makes them out to be. We all get pretty frustrated. So I'm a little nervous about that. But I am super excited and I cannot wait. And the best part about this park is I get to have a hard top board, not a soft top. So, which is rare for like an artificial wave pool, because they have this plastic underlying. And when you have a hard top board, there's more of a chance of you ripping it, as well as the hardboard going off into the air and hurting somebody. But on intermediate waves, which I'm writing, we get to, just like Mass Effect, I could go on this forever, just like you guys. So I'm going to leave it there. That is my really good news. I am on a spree on writing. I've been extremely inspired lately. I've been reading the Green Lantern Corps, which,
Core.
Yeah. What I say, Corpse?
Yeah.
Well, he was my least favorite superhero besides the Flash, but now I am addicted. I'm having a blast. Hal Jordan is amazing. So
man,
I got a lot to go, but I just read DC Universe by Alan Moore to get caught up on all DC stuff. But man, I didn't know how powerful a Green Lantern could be. So I'm excited to see where it can go.
Oh, Green Lantern is probably like one of my favorite. I don't really like him as a character, like Hal Jordan as a character usually, but I do love his stories.
Which do you know the writer that you like? Like Jeff, was it Jeff Johns?
The one that did the Darkest Night, the one with the Black Lanterns. I don't know if you've got to it yet.
Oh, I love that Black Lantern.
Yeah, that was amazing. That I just love seeing all the different color cores. Because the Red Lantern Corps is one of my favorites.
So the red are the bad guys, though, right? Or is it just misunderstood?
I mean, they're kind of both. They can be bad, but they also can do good things. It honestly depends on who has the ring.
Really? So is it just the red who are bad, or yellow too?
Yellow's bad. Yellow's definitely bad, but also orange is also bad.
Okay. Geez, this is complicated.
It sounds complicated, but once you get into
the thing is, so it's not actually that the people themselves are necessarily bad. It's that the rings, they bring out the different emotions, or they heighten the emotions, or they rely, or because they rely on emotions or the specific emotions, they heighten them as well. So the one time that I saw the orange guy, I don't remember what the orange one, but he was this greedy guy who was sort of Golluming, my precious, the ring. And the yellow, the emotion that it feeds off of the yellow one, it amplifies whatever makes Sinestro an arrogant piece of shit. So the people who use them aren't necessarily bad, just like the people who use the Green Lanterns aren't. I mean, the Green Lantern rings aren't necessarily good. It just amplifies the emotions as they're being used, essentially.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I can't wait to find out the different colors. I feel like I'm on track just to know green, really.
Yeah.
But apparently Hal Jordan he has an effect on yellow. I don't know yet. I just know he punched Atrocitus, who was holding something yellow. And I was like, what the heck is going on with all this yellow stuff? It didn't explain it well enough to me, or I just read over it. But I was like, the color yellow is they can't, it hurts them or drains them.
Yeah.
I also didn't know about the lantern was the power thing. I thought that was just a cute accessory. I was so ignorant. I thought they just carried it to say, oh, you in trouble now. Put my lantern down. But no, it is.
Someone carries something around just so they can put it down. That is the entire purpose of an object, is to put it down when shit gets real.
Yep. That's why I didn't care about Green Lantern that much.
That is 100% a Stevie thing to think and say.
I was like, he's got a cute little accessory. And what bothers me is that the lantern is an Earth thing, I feel, but everyone has the lantern. I feel like the lantern should change from species to species. But that's just me being dumb. I will say one last cool thing about the Green Lantern, because I'm on this Green Lantern kick. I've got I'm doing a reading list, a very complicated reading list, because apparently Green Lantern is not the way to start if you want to enjoy DC. But I read this story about someone who was turning into a Green Lantern who couldn't see color. And so the ring couldn't translate color or light or night. And it left you at the end with an ambiguous ending. Is he a Green Lantern? Is he not? It was really cool. And that was a Silver Age comic. I didn't think they'd be that good. So excited to continue.
Ooh, that's good.
I just don't want to. So the books I'm writing, he's got the powers that can, he uses will to create things. Now I can't use the word construct because that's what they call them, and I'm like, that's a great word. I can't use it. I can't use construct.
You can't use construct now.
No constructs, but it is interesting. Hal Jordan is cool. Can't wait to see the other Green Lantern. This is the nerdiest freaking show in the world. Seriously, we're like, I'm jealous of you guys because you guys know so much about it, apparently. But I won't bore Andy with Horde talk. So Andy, oh my god, I almost called you Destiny. You can, I will let you send me a envelope filled with cat crap if I do that, please.
Or a glitter bomb.
Oh my god, no, I wouldn't wish that on my worst. Well, yes, I would. Andy, don't go check your mail. Am I the only one? If I've been talking this entire time, no one else has gone yet. Oh, good.
Oh, all right. My good news so far is that my audiobooks are coming out really soon.
Nice. Hey, that's awesome.
Both of them. Like I had planned to have one released later this month, excuse me, and one introduced in August. But it looks like both of them are gonna be coming on August, and I'm like, oh, I can't handle all that marketing at once, but I'm gonna have to. I've heard the narrator give me a sample, and I was floored, absolutely floored. So I'm looking forward to it.
You put it up for auction on ACX?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's how I found my very first
audition, not auction.
Auction.
I put auction. I mean
auction.
Audition. Well, because I feel like you're auctioning off your manuscript. Like who's gonna put in the best price, which is their voice. I do feel sorry for some of the people who submit. It's like, dude, I can hear the electricity in your walls or from your speaker, and I just come on. But
one of the narrators that I was going for Dust Mountain Blues, he actually sent me the wrong file, and it gave me so many secondhand embarrassment.
Secondhand embarrassment can be bad, and I've never put it that way before.
Oh yeah, I get it bad.
And I'm not talking crap on narrators who don't have good setups. Chris Fox's audio guy did it in a closet. He just had to really put up all that styrofoam and stuff. So that was excellent. I couldn't even tell a difference.
I have a narrator friend that does hers in her closet, and I was like, and she sounds, her quality is phenomenal.
pretty genius. Well, thanks, Destin, man. I wish you the best of luck on that. That's we haven't had an audiobook release for a while that we've talked about on the show. So, well, besides Andy, but his is every week, so it doesn't matter. Don't matter. That's the weekly Andy novel. No.
Yeah, man. I just finished the Andy book. Can't wait till next week.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of, that's my cool thing for the week. On Tuesday, the 4th book in the Cerberus series released, and the box set for My Silent Champion series went up on Tuesday as well. So a double whammy on Tuesday.
Heck yeah, man, that is awesome. I got a launch release thing on BookBub. So that was really cool. Love the cover. So go check that out, everybody. Go check out Destin's stuff and Andy's stuff. My book 3 is coming, but it'll be here one day. But I'm 50,000 words into it, making pretty good progress. So
well done.
Yes, I've definitely, what's helped me is, it's over there. It's a little binder thing that I write my stuff in every day. I force myself, even if I just poop that day, it goes in the book. Something goes in that book, and it's really helped. I've studied Japanese every day for 2 weeks. It's great. Awesome. So let's get right into the topic today. It's one that I can actually talk about with no research, because I am a delusional child. We're doing In Pursuit of Our Desires, which I have an interesting thing to talk about when I say delusions, but it might be a little bit of a tangent outside of our topic today. But I have to know how did we come up with this topic?
It was
Destin.
Destin's idea.
It's just something I'm really passionate to talk about because like it's very near and dear to my heart. So like something
Really?
that like talk about pursuing what you want to do.
I feel like we need more of that in the world right now.
We do.
It's I've met so many people that just even when I ask them a question like, oh, what do you want to do in life? It's almost not that they're mad at me for asking it, it's just that they've never been asked it before. So I feel like I don't know, maybe they should watch more Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or some kind of cartoon that says follow your dreams. I don't know.
Oh yeah, like it's actually a topic that came up to me because one of my friends just recently started his novel, and I kind of had to like coach him to do it because he decided this is not something I could do. It's not either possible. I don't have the time or the like creative talent, and I had to like basically like keep being like try it until he finally broke down and tried and started trying it, and now he's like 120 like K words in, and he's almost like completed with his first draft, and like he'll like now I can't think of doing anything else. Like it's kind of like changed how he thought his life was gonna go because he's been like just kind of like just living through life for so long, and that like it was kind of like automatic to him. Like every day was kind of like this automatic drone life, and like me like kind of like coaching him to be like, try this out. There's something you want to do. You read a lot of books. You read a lot of manga. Try it out. What's the worst that could happen?
Oh, manga's the best. Oh my god.
I know, right?
It's just so expensive, and I don't want to steal it. I mean, I will if I have to. It's just I love that. Yeah, I get so inspired from anime. I really do. But that's awesome, man. You know, I should really take a note from me. I try to help people who reach out and say, "Hey, we take a look at this," because I've had so many authors do that for me. So it's kind of like reciprocating. You know,
yeah.
I'm still in the point where I'm embarrassed when people ask me. But I'm just so flattered that I'm like, get away from me, you goob. You're making me blush. That's great, Destin. That's awesome. I'm guessing this pursuit of our desires is a big theme in your book, right?
Yes. For both of my books, actually, like it just seems to be like a recurring theme. For Just Mountain Blues, like the pursuit of your like personal desires and what you want to protect is like a huge thing with the whole family. That's kind of like what they like are built on. Like this is their home, and they just want to like, and that's their main desire to keep it safe. And as the story goes on, you start seeing like Appetite's whole character arc is basically him dealing with the mother of his child and not being able to see her, and them being separated for so long. And then Kendall's main motivation is she wants to keep her family safe with a new power that she ends up getting, but like it ends up developing in ways that she doesn't expect and ends up hurting more people than helping. So yeah.
So it shows like all the things that could go against you when trying to pursue these desires.
Yep.
Are we? So can you explain like the word desire? Are we talking about like a profession or an item or love?
Anything you want.
It could be anything
you want. Okay.
It could be like, your desire in terms of like what you want from life. That's usually when I think of like desires or like things that you want to pursue, is what you want from life and what will you do to keep it safe.
Do you believe that in order to get what we want, we have to help someone else get what they want? You know, because
yes, to some extent. I do think that at times we deserve to be a little bit selfish on what we want to get for ourselves.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the time we tend to put a lot of people first, while not realizing that that in a way could hurt them and you.
You should write a book on this, Deston. I'm listening. I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I need to do that.
So yeah, like sometimes you have to put yourself first. Well, like a lot of people see that as being selfish, and like that you don't have to make it selfish. You can still help people pursue what they want to pursue while also pursuing what you want to pursue. And that's big. That's a big way to develop you as a person.
There has been a shift in sort of the, I'm going to say the onda because that's the Spanish word. I don't know. The vibe is the way to do it. So up until 3-4 years ago, it was all about, being, the best person for other people, like, selflessness and generosity. And now the shift has gone a little bit more onto, self-care and, making decisions that benefit you. And I don't think it's gotten to the point where everyone's like, well, fuck all y'all around me. I'm focusing on myself. It's more like, okay, this relationship sort of like it's an acknowledged that you need to have a good relationship with others and help others, but sometimes or often we do that so much to our own detriment that we end up suffering because of it. And so I've seen that shift a lot, not necessarily pushing people to be selfish like to a serious extent, but being a little bit more aware of, okay, here are my limits. I cannot cross that limit for you. If it's not healthy, maybe sometimes pushing ourselves is good, but pushing ourselves can often lead us to burnout, or it can, it can go negative. And I love what Rebecca said. She said, putting yourself first isn't selfish. People insisting you set aside things important to you to help them is selfish.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very true.
It is.
Yeah, it's been growing up. It was hard not being a doormat because I was so nice.
Oh, I was absolute doormat. I still tend to fold a little bit. Like I would be like, and like a lot of my friends be like, "Okay, get something for yourself. Do something for yourself." And
right?
I'm like,
okay.
But and they're like, "No, no." You go take a self-care day. Like, what is that? I don't know that word. Who is she? Like,
who is she? I like that. Who is she? That's great. Yeah, my parents used to get on to me for it because I would always like let my brother do whatever he wanted, even though I wanted to do it. He doesn't do that anymore. But just as kids, that's what we would do. Or I'd let people in school borrow very expensive things that my parents bought for me because I wanted to be friendly, and then I never got them back, toys and stuff. So it's been a constant struggle, but I've gotten better at it. I recently just had to say no to someone, and the backlash I got was shocking. So dealing with that is a whole different story. I feel you just kind of have to ignore them, just like, hey, dude, I have to do this other thing. I'm sorry.
Like, but sometimes you just gotta say no, and that's fair. Like
saying no is a skill. I feel not for some are it's just in them innately, but for me, saying no is very hard, especially if that person's in need of help, but it gets in the way of something that's very important that I need to do. I mean, I would say that's probably one of the things I'm going to be working on for the rest of my life, saying no. I'm also a yes man, so I'll say yes to any project and just get overwhelmed with stuff because I can't say no. I read it. You'll do the same?
Mm-hmm. I will just be like, oh, I know I can't do this in a reasonable time, but I don't want to disappoint this person. I'm going to say yes anyway. Like, and that's not fair to them or me, honestly.
I've got a really scary story. I was doing charity work at an old folks home, and it was a psychotic ward part of it, and I was already very nervous. I was probably like 11 years old, and this lady grabbed me by the arm, and she's like in a motorized bed, and she started pulling me in, and then she grabbed my other arm with her arm, like I'm talking crazy strength, and was trying to kiss me like really bad, and I didn't know how to say no. Like because you see your grandma basically, like you don't want to tell your grandma no. It was the weirdest feeling in the world. And luckily a nurse came and stopped it. And she goes, honey, you just can't get close to any of them. They don't know what they're doing. And that was it doesn't really relate to what we're talking about, but even in that case, I could not say no.
Yeah.
I was a little Catholic boy, you know, about to get kissed by an older lady. I was like, oh no.
There's a whole subsection of, you know, videos about that, Stevie, that you can go watch later. Or
I've already done that. Like today, I need to probably close some of these tabs. Actually, it's probably slowing down my computer. I've been told to buy so many pills on these things too.
I'm pretty sure those are just suggestions from Lisa. What?
Oh, where's my katana? I gotta commit seppuku. That sounded nasty too. Jesus, Andy, spicy today. Wow, muy caliente. If you're not speaking English today. But as people know about me, I am all about going after desires. I think I really enjoy the talk because when I was young, I always try to help other people. So the idea of being selfish every now and then is really exciting to me. And it had the adverse effect because I started buying a lot of stuff when I was in my younger 20s because I just had never gotten anything for myself, and it got to a spending problem. So there's multiple things that can spin off the negative train, but we're talking about going after your desires. But I think it's always interesting to look at the opposite side, not doing it enough. I am a huge believer in following your desires, even if it doesn't make a lot of money in life. A lot of people say, you know, you can't get rich at everything, but I feel like you can figure some way. If us indie authors are making money, you know, some of the big ones, it's possible. Funny thing, and I know I'm talking a lot, but people always say the knitting. What do they say? Like basket weaving or whatever. I know of a person through another person that someone is making money doing that because there is a small niche and no one was covering it. So now they're making all this money doing basket. It's not basket weaving. It is. It's a weird form of crochet, and I don't know what it is, but it's something that's, you know, you would think you're not going to make money off of, but they're selling courses on this stuff, and I'm like, what the hell? That's cool. So. If you are wanting to follow your desire and has something to do with knitting, crocheting, basket weaving, there's hope. There's hope for you yet. Destin, I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. Do you think that the reason why people play video games like World of Warcraft and this quest hunting, do you think it's predominantly people who aren't following their desires in real life and they find this is an artificial outlet for them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I do feel like it comes. I've plenty of guildmates where they're like, "This is the only way I can get like achievements in my life," and they kind of use it as an outlet. And I'm like, that's not a really healthy way to look at any type of video game.
Yeah, I know that's why men play video games a lot, because it's the achievement that we get. Did y'all know this thing going on with Will Smith and that woman or whatever?
A little bit, like
I'm too ignorant on the subject, obviously, to talk about it. I've seen only Will's side, really, like, you know, Will's sad something, I don't know, but it was a Chris Rock. Well, anyway, it said women, children, and dogs can be loved unconditionally, but men, they have to be worth something to be loved, so they're conditionally loved. I thought it was interesting. I personally don't have that problem. I don't believe in the quote 100%, but it's kind of interesting.
It's kind of interesting, like, concept to think about. But like, I don't think it's like 100% true, but I do think there's some cases where that is true.
We're becoming so materialistic. I feel like there's going to be people out there who just want to be with someone who can provide that material stuff. But if you find someone that isn't doing that to you, you should stay with them.
Yeah, you should keep them. They're nice.
Treat them like kings or queens.
Because that's the rare thing.
So, Destin, you know, I have to ask, what are the desires that you're going after? If you don't mind talking about them.
I don't mind. My main, I do want to, like, I'm really into, like, getting my indie career started, like, super started. I really want to, my ultimate goal is to have a small publishing house.
Cool.
Mainly because I have a lot of people that I know that I feel will be really good in the industry, but they don't really have a place to go, either because they're like a marginalized voice, or it's just that they're not feeling comfortable with the traditional publishing market.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be able to provide that at some point to those type of people. So that's one of my like main goals.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Are you gonna be able to say no? If something's not up to your quality?
That is what I am going to have to like start developing on, because I even do it with my own work. I have a hard time saying no. So that's why I'm like, I don't have to develop this skill a little bit more. Because it is a big thing to be able to tell people no, this is not something that I'm looking for, or no, this is not this is not what my publishing house wants. So
you just brought up a question that I now have for you and Andy, and that is, do you think rejection is one of the biggest reasons why we don't follow or try to chase after our desires?
Oh yeah. I've gotten so many people say that like they don't want to get rejected, and like even though like they want to give it a try, and that's gonna happen, and like it's going to happen. You're going to get rejected, like you're going to get bad reviews on your book.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Failure.
To like experience the bad review trade.
Oh yeah. Oh man, like
I just don't do it anymore. Like I just don't look at the reviews.
Yeah, some people do that. I've heard that advice. Just don't look at the reviews. Maybe skim it to see if there's something that you can critique yourself on. But man, I've got to say, when I first started this, I didn't want to hear any critiques on my work. Like that was my worst nightmare. Just not a critique taker. I'm not very much like, if I get critiqued, I'm like, all right, I quit. And it's a huge problem. Seriously, it makes you a jack of all trades. You start jumping around. But luckily, I have Andy, and I have to show up every Thursday. That constant in my life has kept me like, Stevie, if you want to really do this, you got to take the critique. So, I mean, there's stuff that Andy told me that I didn't take, which I wish I had now, like coming up with stupid words for my books that made it super annoying for me and the reader, which I could go on. But yeah, the rejection's hard. And I know men have a hard time with rejection with women too, which, I went through. Surprise. God, like I remember there's a really bad rejection in high school. It was one of those rejections where they said yes, and then they come back to you and then like I don't want to go out with you anymore. It's like, oh, so you get the dopamine rush and then you get the slash to the gut. Yeah.
That's painful.
I still remember that skate. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. And the reason why was because I wasn't Asian.
Oh no.
Yeah, and all my friends were like, dude, if she told you that, you kind of like escaped from something. And I was like, no, she was the one.
We're convinced. They're like, oh man, she was the one, even though like we had no one.
Yeah, right.
Otherwise.
What is it? It reminds me of that Simple Plan song. I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare. I don't know if you guys listen to pop punk. Anyway, so we should probably get into the reading. Do we have any final things about chasing after your desires?
Andy, like you really didn't say much about it.
I think I sucked it up.
I was thinking about it from the other side of thing, in the sense that the people who will do whatever it takes to achieve their desires are the ones who end up being like the villains. But
yes.
But I think we've talked about it before, so this was a great angle to take it from, of chasing your dreams. And Stevie's definitely the one to talk about chasing your dreams. I'm more like the work hard and hope you accomplish something kind of guy.
Yeah, that's why we get along so well. Or at least I say that every week, and he's like, man, I don't want to deal with this idiot anymore. Holy crap, he's annoying. Final note on my side for the pursuit of desires. I think what Andy said is very important. If you're going to step on people to get your desires, you will end up becoming the villain of your own story and you will crash. The other thing is, if you want something that you want to do in life, don't ever tell yourself that you don't have time and that it's impossible. There's always time and there's always some way, even if it's just an hour on a Saturday morning. You can figure it out. I trust in you. I believe in you. You can do it because I said so. But Destin, do you have any closing words before we get into your reading?
Oh no, like you kind of wrapped it up.
Sweet. Awesome. So we're doing chapter 5 of, and I keep wanting to call it Tavern because it's such an easy thing.
That's the one we're reading from.
Deston Munden. Okay, so we are reading from Dusk Mountain Blues.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've seen our shows before, so you probably know you are the director. You can tell Andy and I who you want us to play, who you want to be narrator. It's all up to you. Yeah.
All right. Andy, how do you feel about being a narrator?
Yep.
Is there a voice for Andy? Maybe.
I'm gonna narrate like a Texan.
Go okay. That's fine.
This is a Western.
Whoop-de-doo.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm going to do the characters now. I think we see Staff Sergeant Bills, which is kind of like this person that Drifter's gonna beat up on.
Okay. Is he like a real staff sergeant, like army guy?
Yeah.
Is he Southern?
Yes, everyone's Southern here.
Okay, perfect.
Everyone's Southern. I'll do Drifter, and you can do the Sergeant. And Old Coyote.
Old Coyote? Who's that?
He's like a robot type of he's like a robot bartender.
Okay. And does this robot have a Southern accent as well?
Yep. Everyone has a Southern accent.
It's a Western, Stevie.
All right. Sounds good to me.
All right, here we go.
All right.
The shop weren't no big whoop-de-doo. The walls and the roofs of the huntsman's cabin were made of a thick, collapsible metal, tinged with red rust and bullet holes. The small shack had seen worse days, though, in its hasty construction from planet to planet. This time, at least, the walls and foundations looked stable instead of slumping in on itself as though it was standing on pudding. Old Coyote had the decency to put the windows in this time, normally foregoing them altogether out of sheer laziness. The energy field within the bar itself protected the bar goers well enough from the elements, it seemed. Despite this and without fail, he managed to put up that stupid neon light sign right above the 2 swinging wooden doors. Green and white flashed at eye level, burning spots in his sight. The urge to rip the sign from the bolts only intensified when a light sparked and went out against his face. Drifter growled, stooping low under the low-hanging frame. The wave of smoke and cheap beer hit him in the nostrils first. The small shack was already crammed from wall to wall with patrons, growling and muttering under their breath. You couldn't speak softer than the jukebox, Coyote figured you didn't have enough courtesy in your blood to live. Drifter liked the music. The old kook had good taste in that, at least, but not much else. The lighting was bad. The planks creaked under Drifter's sneakers, tempting to buckle with every step. Not for the first time, Drifter wondered how the building stayed together. He shouldered through some grisly-looking men taking drinks and exchanging wares to approach the counter. One of the men turned, frowned, sipped from his tall, cloudy mug, and then grinned with all brown teeth, a purple tongue poking from the empty spaces.
Hey, don't I know from somewhere?
The purple-tongued man barked. Drifter eyed him. He recognized him as Staff Sergeant Bills, the highest rank of the Bluecoats that was on the planet before Debenham and Zan showed up. He was a thin, muscled man with dark blonde hair, the consistency of badly cooked spaghetti. Drifter and the family made him look like an absolute fool time and time again. He was a weaker mutant, a poor attempt to recomplicate what the previous chairman of the civilization succeeded, and it showed. Seeing him out of his uniform and in beaten, poorly stitched fatigues, drinking and muttering, was quite the hoot. Bill stared, drunk eyes flickering up and down Drifter's body. Recognition slowly dawned on the staff sergeant's brutish face, a sneer ripping through his hard feature. He straightened his body, reaching for the pistol sitting on his hip. Didn't recognize Drifter well enough, apparently. That little weapon wouldn't even scratch his hide, even when he looked like a normal, hard-working fella. Stupidity glistened in those dark eyes, the obscene willingness to act on whatever pride held them together.
Luke Caldwell, what you doing here?
Drifter smiled.
Staff Sergeant Lincoln Bills. Pleasure as always.
You show your face here out of all places. Here, where I drink,
Voice, Lincoln. Voice.
Old Coyote came out from the back room. He stumbled, leaning on his right leg, the last thing made of flesh on his entire body. Drifter assumed for a long time that he was a roid made by the civilization, but learned later that he was indeed human once upon a time. There was little to show that now. Aside from that last piece of bone and flesh, his body was made of a flexible metal alloy, even with the perfect parts, each with perfect parts that made no hissing or cracking. A bright green light searched the two men, flickering back and forth. Old Coyote tugged his leather cowboy hat over his optics and muttered with his husky synthesized voice. He plucked the burning cigarette from the small slit on his head that served as his mouth, smashing the butt into an ashtray.
Didn't expect to see you here, Drifter. What you got for me this time?
Quite a bit, actually. My brothers are unloading it as we speak.
You're gonna trade with this ruffian?
Staff Sergeant Bills barked.
I'm trading with you, ain't I?
Old Coyote snapped.
Now sit down and drink your beer before I take it away. Adults are talking.
Bills frowned but shut his mouth all the same, nursing his drink and hurt feelings.
Always the first to bark, or always the one to bark first, ain't you?
Drifter heaved the duffel bag over his shoulder and onto the counter. Old Coyote took it with every intention to be unimpressed. He unzipped the bag and whistled.
What's the occasion? You never part ways with your weapons, not of this quality. What's going on?
Old Coyote's voice took a low, serious tone.
What war do you want to start?
The question came out as serious as a heart attack. When it came to old world weapons and drink, there was no equal. Drinks were okay to sell, guns weren't. A sold gun from Drifter was the harbinger of the devil. Everyone on the planet knew this. The bluecoats and attendants stopped their drinking, their drunken banter, even their breathing, it seemed. Only the music rolled through the bar and trading post. They sat in stunned silence, eyes caught on the dusty old man with the knife to the world. Staff Sergeant Bills was the one that broke the silence with a laugh.
This is about that mud of yours that you lost to Debenham, ain't it?
Staff Sergeant Bills barked another laugh.
How does it feel to be out of your depth, old boy? How are you?
Drifter didn't say a word when he smashed the man's own beer glass into his head. Shards of glass sprayed on the ground on the counter. The staff sergeant howled, holding his eye in pain, almost kicking off his stool. Drifter caught him by the hair. A cold, quiet rage filled him as he smashed the man's head repeatedly into the counter, till purple blood oozed off the table and onto his black and white sneakers. Drifter yanked the man's head up by his hair, allowing the open wound on the man's ugly face to close. Staff Sergeant Bills had suffered burns, cut, bruises, everything across the planet. His healing ability saved him from a lot of those. This was an experiment, a thrill for Drifter to test to see how far he could go. A soft kind of savagery filled his gut with each satisfying crunch of the man's skull.
I don't want to hear your voice anymore. Drifter said, whispering into the man's ear. This don't involve you, so set your trap about my folks.
That's enough, Luke.
Old Coyote groaned.
I don't want any trouble in the place.
Tell them that. Tell that to them.
The rest of the Bluecoat squad and the huntsman was now standing with guns raised. Drifter looked from person to person, amused at their quaking expressions. The door swung open, revealing Big Thunder and Pitt standing in its frame. The tension in the room rose. They hadn't heard what Bill said. Good. Better the Drifter started than either one of them. This way, he held the reins, had control over how this went down.
A quiet kind of hoedown.
Drifter rolled his shoulders, smiling at the only backup he needed. Old Coyote sighed and lit another cigarette, a habit he still had despite not having a human tongue or a mouth to taste it.
Just try not to break anything important, or whoever's still alive is going to pay for it.
And with that, he returned casually to the back room. The brawl started all at once. Fists began to fly first. Big Thunder roared into the brawl. Though shorter than most opponents he faced, Thunder knew how to fight. He swung, his meaty knuckles connecting with one of the nearest men's face and shattering his jaw into pieces. Within seconds, he was surrounded by men, each falling left and right to his blows. The more he fought, the louder his punches sounded. As his muscles began to warm, his skin took on a yellow-gold color, resounding blow after blow. Drifter tossed the bloody pulp of their staff sergeant to the ground. His healing mutation hadn't stopped him from losing consciousness, it seemed. Shame. That was fun while it lasted. Drifter approached the chaos with a few casual steps. A heavy-set man went for a swing at Drifter's face, only to be caught by his knuckles and have those digits crushed. Bigger men always thought it'd be smart to fight him, that he was knees and picking. The boys of the mines learned the hard way after a while that there was no messing with Drifter like this. Wordlessly, he tossed the man over his shoulder and knocked him out cold with a swift punch. Fighting was a quiet type of hobby for him, like knitting a sweater. The more that came, the more fell to his fists. Thousands of days in the pits was edged into his body. A group full of drunk spacemen wasn't going to be much of the problem, that is, till the weapons came out. A blue beam brushed past him, searing his cheek. Drifter touched the burn mark for a second.
Get a real weapon,
he wanted to say, but his mind was too focused on the attack. He stepped around a table, kicking it over for cover. They couldn't put their lasers on maximum heat unless they wanted to fire, and they didn't want that among the pile of crap they put themselves in. Drifter loaded his revolver with 6 casual clicks.
Only 6 today. Ain't gonna need any more.
He peeked over the cover and fired, the heat of the gun feeling nice against his knuckles. 5 in the chamber, 1 in the grave. They want to bring out a gun, they need to know the consequence of that. Another bullet, another body slumping dead on the floor. The rays of blue rained in earnest after that. Drifter rolled from cover to cover, being wary of when to use his bullets. Energy guns had their own weaknesses. While they didn't need to reload like old world weapons, unless the batteries were completely spent, they did need to cool off after a few shots. Every gun was different, depending on the manufacturers of the cells. The key, Drifter learned, was learning which cell went with each gun by ear. Though a dangerous strategy in its own right, it was the best he'd learned to deal with the technology. Drifter popped out of cover, hearing a sharp hiss from one of the men's weapons. Drifter saw the brief slither of steam and shot another bullet. Dead. Clean shot through the chest. There were a few spacemen left in the Huntsman now. Drifter saw Big Thunder, skin the color of an overwrapped grapefruit, laughing over limp bodies with raw knuckles. Pitt stood over a few other men, his serrated hunting knife freshly pulled from a dead man's neck. He too laughed his amusement, a slow, huffy laugh more akin to a woof.
We're monsters, aren't we?
The thought struck a dull, satisfying chord in the back of his head, better than the songs escaping from the speakers of the jukebox. Drifter eyed the 5 remaining members of the squad, scattered in the small space, with the same look of apprehension glued on their faces. This was the moment that made men heroes. It was also one that made cowards. Drifter wasn't a betting man, but he knew which one they'd choose. 4 fled the moment Drifter stepped forward. A shame, but he didn't have enough ammo to kill them all anyway. They left one brave man who was too drunk or stupid to realize he was outmatched. Drifter thought to let him go, let him live his life. He even played with the idea as the stupid boy raised his weapon and shot, a bright red laser shooting from its barrel. The ray came close to hitting, burning through the flesh of Drifter's shoulder into searing pain. With a bit more clarity and a lot less fear, he might have done the deed.
Brave kid, wrong place.
Unflinching, Drifter shot the boy in his chest. Not a cough or a gurgle. Like that, they were done, and the room was quiet again, aside from the light sounds of bluegrass.
Very nice.
Oh,
Bring it back to the music. That's great. I really like that. That was fun. That was a lot of fun, actually.
that was your classic Wild West tavern shootout.
Yeah. Like, I thought it'd be a good way to show the general feel of the story.
Love it.
Where are you from?
I'm from North Carolina.
Okay.
Like a really rural part of North Carolina, so it's really easy to just like slip into like that, like
Yeah, I know South Carolina is pretty southern, so
yeah,
I don't
North
know.
Carolina equally as southern.
Okay, it's the same. Okay, it's. I mean, I figured.
One collaboration of like southern mess.
I was gonna say, I was actually messaging on the YouTube chat. I was like, this guy's Southern. He knows too much. Like, he just gets it. He just gets it. Andy, I about lost it when you said spaghetti instead of spaghetti. Like,
Yeah,
good stuff. Good stuff. That was funny. I wasn't expecting it, and I was like, "Oh, he read it wrong." Oh no, he didn't. That's just smart. I like that.
You pick up a few things in Texas.
Spaghetti. That's funny because I didn't realize we do say that. Like, it's just like, oh, you want to grab some spaghetti? Yeah. And it's like oh god.
It's not used often. Honestly, you don't hear it a lot. So whenever you do hear it, like it's jarring.
He's like, whoa.
Yeah, anyway, that was funny. Well, Destin, man, that was great. So you got to tell people where they can find you.
No, they can find me on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. And remember, like, Just Mountain Blues is actually on sale this week.
Sweet.
I put it on sale for 99 cents this week. So if you want to pick it up, check
And
that out.
It'll be going back up to $2.99.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you heard it here first on the Fantasy Fiends podcast. If you want to support Destin and have an awesome story at the same time, simultaneous, go grab your own copy. This is a desire you want to chase. Ooh. Or pursue, I should have said. But anyway.
Yeah, that
would have went better. Well, awesome. Do we have anything else we want to talk about on this subject?
That is it. Just pop back in on Monday night at 6:00 Pacific time for another episode of Deranged and Questing. We are about to get our asses kicked by an ice giant, and I'm pretty sure that our dear young Abelard is like dangling outside a tower window 3 stories up, about to come to and realize that he is no longer an escape artist and he is something else, absolutely unprepared for an escape. So it is going to be absolutely hilarious.
That is awesome. Well, and we should probably do like a recap like this maybe at the beginning of the podcast if you want, the show if you want to. So I just keep forgetting because I'm a bad person. But yeah, definitely go check us out on Monday. In a couple weeks, I will also be a part of it. That's going to be the best episode ever. Just know. Well, great. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging out with us today. Destin, thank you so much for being here. You were awesome. We appreciate you.
No problem. And thank you.
You're right. Thank us. You're right. No. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for being with us. We hope you enjoyed your stay, and we can't wait to see those beautiful faces on Monday and Thursday. And if you're not here, we're no longer your friends, so don't come back. Guys,
We love you all so very much, and we hope you have a wonderful weekend. Have a good night and go grab yourself some spaghetti.
y'all holler back now.
Or as Steven said, pasta.
Pasta. Oh, yeah, that's good shit.
All right. Good night.
Get out of here.